In this episode, we'll explore common leftist Filipino attitudes about labor as illustrated by this meme. This image went viral on Labor Day. It is easy why it captured the sentiment of many Filipinos. It contains many common and unchallenged assumptions about economics. The meme argues that Filipino billionaires built their wealth by exploiting the labor of their underpaid employees. Exploitation happens when business owners keep more than what they pay their workers to produce goods and services. The surplus value of workers' labor makes the business owners' profits possible. For the business owners to become rich, the workers have to become poor. This line of reasoning suffers from a basic ignorance of economics and incentives. The value of a service or product isn't the simple sum of the price paid for raw materials and labor to produce services or goods. The price of products and services depend on how much value consumers of those products and services place on them. Generally, the more products there are and the lower the demand, the lower the price for the products. The reverse is also true. The higher the demand for the product and lower its supply, the higher its price. None of this supply and demand analysis factor in how much labor or time was put into producing a service or product. Let me put it this way, even if it takes you a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to produce a widget, and it took you forever to make it, if your customers value it at 100 pesos, its value will be 100 pesos. Otherwise, no one will buy it. This is market reality. Applying this to the meme, the value of the output of Filipino businesses turn on the market value of that output, not labor costs. So it is not exploitation to keep what is left over between the price paid by customers and money spent to produce the goods and services they bought. It is not immoral nor exploitative because profits incentivize business people to keep employing others and paying their wages. They are motivated by profits, and the possibility of earning profits ensures that entrepreneurs continue to risk their money in starting and running businesses. This means jobs for workers. Condemn the profits as immoral or exploitative, and you end up with less businesses and less jobs for workers. After all, who would want to risk bankruptcy starting and running a business when, at the end of the day, you would get very little or nothing in return for all the risks you took? Another faulty message sent by this meme is the idea of a zero-sum game involving the minimum wage. The idea is for the rich to gain. Poor workers have to lose by being paid the bare minimum. Minimum wage is unfair because it makes profits possible. The problem with this assumption in the Philippine setting is that, outside of export processing zones, the Philippines actually has the highest minimum wages in the ASEAN region. When measured in terms of productivity, our minimum wage is even more expensive than competing countries. Why is this a problem? Why would an employer hire an employee at the minimum wage rate plus statutory costs like PhilHealth, Social Security, and other costs when the value of that employee's output is lower than their wage? For example, would you continue to pay your employee 1,000 pesos when your customers will only pay you 600 pesos for your employee's output? If you said yes, then you'll be out of business soon enough. Yet this is the kind of solution to Filipino poverty and inflation many people are pushing. No wonder the Philippines continues to lag many of its ASEAN neighbors when it comes to human development. Great-paying jobs for low-skilled or unskilled workers are few and far between because of the minimum wage. People pushing for yearly minimum wage increases also overlook the fact that once an employee is employed for 6 months, they get security of tenure thanks to President Marcos Sr.'s Presidential Decree 772 of 1974. Security of tenure makes it almost impossible to fire employees for low productivity or low-quality performance. This acts as a low-productivity tax on businesses and pushes them to use manpower agencies and other workarounds to evade the statutory costs security of tenure requires. Given the 6-month security of tenure guarantee, many companies use a 6-month contract system. Once a worker reaches 6 months, it is end of contract or endo for them, and they are let go. This system all but ensures employers do not invest in upgrading their workers' skills, and the average Filipino worker becomes less productive when compared to other workers in ASEAN. What is the solution? Abolish or lower the minimum wage? Seriously, when there is no minimum wage, more unskilled and younger workers get hired. This leads to a larger consumer base because people with no skills or experience can now get hired. They then contribute to the larger economy by buying goods and services, and this creates more opportunities for entrepreneurs to start businesses and hire people. An upward spiral of more employment and greater economic activity is created. As employees gain more skills, Their market value increases, so they start to earn more than minimum wage as they switch jobs or move up the labor food chain. Singapore and Hong Kong did not have a minimum wage for decades, and they both rose from grinding poverty. The same goes with China during its initial period of intense economic growth before 1994. Another key reform is the abolition of security of tenure. This will make local businesses more efficient. Low productivity workers are pushed to shape up or get fired. This boosts the overall productivity of a company and, if there is market competition for labor, pushes them to pay their workers more due to increased productivity. Removing security of tenure will also incentivize businesses to invest in the skills of their workers and further boost their productivity. This is a win-win situation for both employer and employee, since employees now have higher value skills which other employers demand. Higher skilled employees can then negotiate better pay with their employers. Singapore employees can be fired at will and at any time. Yet Singapore's average income is higher than the ASEAN average, and there is low unemployment in Singapore. Finally, to boost employment, the Philippines should remove all constitutional barriers to foreign investment. One key reason why local Filipino businesses are able to pay their workers low wages is because of a lack of domestic market competition. When foreigners are allowed to directly own or become majority investors in local businesses, this reform will lead to more businesses competing for employees. This produces wage competition, and employers are pushed by market forces to pay their workers more. There's no such push currently in the Philippines because its local market is, due to legal and other factors, protected from competition from foreign investors. The key to Filipino prosperity is not protectionism or excessive government regulation in the employee-employer relationship. It is a combination of free markets, free trade, employment at will, and low taxes. Put all these policies together, and the average Filipino worker can start to earn the higher wages of our ASEAN counterparts.